Uh-oh. Being recorded. Gotta watch what I say. I know, right? Like, for real. Enable waiting room. Disable waiting room. Okay, cool. Invite. How do I do this? Copy invite. They moved my stuff on me and I don't know where nothing is. I just updated Zoom and now it's all different. Go figure. Here we go. Said that book, Who Moved My Keys? Who moved my keys? Good ones, right? All right, here we go. Minimize this. Dive into here. Here we go. Hello. We're going to be diving into some boring stuff today.
Boring?
Terrible, boring, rough. No one likes it. Contract stuff.
Oh.
The dredge of the world that we don't deal with here at Winning Realty.
Yeah, which is what you say.
Because we have people. we got people. It says the meeting passcode is 44430.
I'm not there that much.
Hello. They're like super coordinated, like always. Hello.
Okay, cool. So when I'm here, it's asking me.
I have no idea what the thing. Oh, it's just recording. I'm like, how am I talking? That's weird. Okay. All right, we'll let people start filling the meeting. We got Kalei in the house. Hello, hello. Connecting to audio. Should be able to hear her in a second. We got Amy here. Hello, hello. All right. Good, Jeanette.
Good, how are you?
All right, we'll give people a couple more minutes. Is it Janae or is it Jeanette?
It's Janet.
Janet. All right, cool. I think I've called you every variant of your name.
No worries.
I got it now. We got Sheehan in the house coming in from California. Amy's probably either here or over in Utah doing deals.
What's up, Randy?
All right. What's going on? We're going to dive into some very boring stuff today. Very boring, terrible stuff. It's some contract stuff. So I'm going to get into this in just a second while the room fills up here.
I don't think there's ever anything boring coming from you, Randy.
We try to make it fun.
The way you teach it, the way you deliver it makes it fun. Thank you.
Right? We try. All right, Rashida's having issues. It says, I tried the link and the code, no luck. When you open it, click open in Safari on the arrow in the bottom left. Oh, look at Kalea up in here teaching how to work this stuff over. I like this teamwork.
Randy, I was having problems with the link as well. Just tell her to put the Zoom ID number in directly.
Oh, just put the Zoom. Okay.
Zoom ID, which would be the 821.
Sheehan says to do the Zoom ID directly. Let me see if I can grab a different link. Maybe the link that I grabbed was just no bueno. If I could find where it is. Okay. Invite. Copy invitation. Let me try this one. It's probably my bad. Try this, get back over to here. All right. That is long. Find your local number. I have no idea. All right, so I'm just gonna dive right in real quick, guys, while they try to get in there. Oh, I see some more of the people are trying to get in. Very good, very good. Oh, I think she got it. By George, I think she got it. Here we go. No idea what I just opened. All right. All right, Rashida is in the house. We got her. All right, very cool. So we're just gonna dive right in. So in chat on Zoom real quick, is there any documents or contracts, or whether it be the listing agreement, the purchase agreement, which is also the offer, is there any documents, the BBA, anything that you guys want an explanation, or I give kind of more of an explanation? I teach you how to use the documents in your advantage so that you win the agreements versus other people. Are there any documents that are coming to your brain that you just want an education on? Throw it out there. The offer, the listing agreement. Don't all speak at once. You guys can unmute yourselves. We are completely open chat here. What documents do you want me to cover? And I'm waiting for someone to talk in chat. Or you guys, are there any documents that you guys want me to go over that you guys need an explanation on? Are we good on BBA? Are we good on listings? Are we good on? Don't know how to do a listing? Okay, so we should go over. So I'll go over that. Hey, Shaquille, the question is, everyone, are there any documents that you want an explanation on, whether it's the offer, the listing, a BBA, maybe it's an application for a rental? Are there any documents that you just need a little fine tuning on? We have one request for a. What was that? I'm so sorry.
Rental.
A rental. Okay, okay. All right, so we're fairly good on drafting offers. A mirror in here? A mirror? No, that's definitely the wrong person. It's for my vanity. Someone's asking if we're trying to install a mirror in this office. All right, so very cool. So we're going to start with a listing really quick because that was one that just popped up there. So we're going to go over to, and mind you, your assistants do all this for you. I just kind of want you to have an understanding of the document, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into, if you can't see my computer, you guys want to come on close here and get on in? I promise I don't have COVID. Yeah, right. I know, it's terrible. All right, so we're going to dive into the listing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the forms on your left-hand side. Okay. You're going to go over to residential forms. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to where it says listing. So I think I can just type it in. Listing up here usually helps me find it. And you're going to see two different types, okay?
Are we supposed to see your screen, Randy? We just see a picture of you.
Oh, that would be very helpful. I'm glad you said something. I'm just chilling. Totally.
I know, you're just sitting there with your hands together in the picture.
No, I'm totally cool. Totally cool. All right, so let me do this. Get into here, hit share. Is that working?
Okay, it's good now.
Yes, it's working.
Your app. All right, very cool. So you're going to see, when you go into this, you're going to see two of them. One is called an EA, okay? It's an EA, and the other one is called an ER, all right? So here it is, exclusive authorization and right to sell, exchange, lease, brokerage, listing agreement, ER, okay? I remember it as emergency room is the one that I want, which is terrible. You never want to go to the emergency room. But I remember some weird things, and I remember like a certain, like, I used to always spell the word island. It's island. So it helps me remember it. It's island. So ER is the one you want. EA, and I'm just going to explain to you what it is An EA listing, it just gives the seller the ability to sell it on their own and not pay you a commission. An ER, it gives them the ability to sell it, but if whoever sells it, doesn't matter, you make a commission. Okay? So ER is the one that you want. You have the exclusive right. No one else could sell that home and you not get paid. All right. Now, let me explain something before we dive into the difference between an ER and an EA. The big difference is I sometimes do EA listings. I do. Remember when I told you guys when we were calling for sale by owners and we say, hey, do you want to race? Okay, and they look at you like you got 3 heads. All right. The reason we do that is you can go through and you can say, hey, I love the fact that you're trying to sell this house on your own. I am one of the only brokers in town that is going to enable you the ability to sell it on your own, and I'll still put it on the MLS. We will race. Whoever sells it first, if you sell the home on your own, okay, I will do an EA listing versus an ER, which would enable you the ability to sell it on your own and not pay a commission. All right. So if you find the buyer and it's someone that you found, not someone that I found, okay, you found the buyer, you go through and you still market the way that you're doing, so you're not hindering yourself. And I'm going to put my commission on top of your current price that you're asking. But if I sell find the buyer, I get paid my commission. That's when you do an EA. Okay. So, oh, I see wheels turning. So you have the ability to give them the confidence to go through and still continue to do it on their own. So in that case, when you're doing that, what do they have to lose? You know what I mean? Guys, I'm going to... $1,500 for what?
With that eventually, we were talking about the info one.
Okay, so basically that's a whole separate issue. And what she's talking about is just calling them up and saying, hey, for a flat fee of $1,500, I will put you on the MLS. I will give you the ability to go through and you get your money up front. So you make your $1,500. Granted, $495 of it goes to the TC. So you're not making a lot, but you can still make a quick pop of ground. In that case, I would still, and I'm still going to allow you, where if you find the buyer, period, you would do an EA listing, okay? So they're not paying anything. It's locked in at $1,000. So the cool thing is to give the ability to give them the peace of mind that they can still sell it on their own, not pay you a commission. You're going to put your commission, should you sell it, on top of whatever they were asking anyway. So you can literally ask them, what do you have to lose? Okay. With the market the way it's going now, and it's declining a little bit here and there, we're seeing that. I think we saw like a 7% drop in the past week, where everyone's trying to play a little catch up with their price reductions. You're going to see a lot more sellers working with you now, okay? Because they know they have to sell it now versus chase. They're afraid. So that is the difference between an ER and an EA. Now, granted, on my screen right here, you see exclusive agency listing, EA, but then you also see something down here, exclusive agency listing for unimproved property. What is this? Does anyone know? What is an unimproved property? Land. Yeah, that's your land. It doesn't have anything on it. Okay, so you should have one here for land as well, for unimproved here as well somewhere. And of course, it's not here. That makes sense if you don't think about it. But there should be one here for land too. It's probably in some other little area. But this is the one we're going to dive into. It's called ER. Now, we are totally spoiled here at this brokerage because we do our listings very differently. We literally go to winningrealtyapp.com. I'm gonna show you so you guys kind of have like an idea of how we do it. I never, and mind you, I never access my transaction desk. I, as an agent, never use my MLS anymore. I don't do it. I don't do it. I go through, I have my assistants handle the client as far as this client wants to do a search in this particular area. My assistant set it up. So I don't need to log into this 1980s looking thing that they call MLS. Like, look at this, it's horrible. At least the one in Florida has like nice little flashing things every once in a while, but this one's god awful. But here's how we do it. We go to Winning Assistant. We go over to where it says right here. It's gonna ask you what type of request are you doing. It's so convenient. It already typed it for me. Listing agreement. You're gonna put your name up there. It's gonna ask you, do you want to be set as an Ascent-assigned reviewer? I always click no on this. I don't hit yes, because if you hit yes, then you're reviewing it twice, which is really redundant. You're going to review it no matter what in your Facebook chat, your messenger chat. Hitting yes, it's also going to email it to you to review it again. So it's silly. It's redundant, but we do have some old school agents that were stuck doing that, and it's hard for them to break that trend. Okay. So you're going to hit next here. I click listing up above. Then it's just fill in the blanks, seller name, seller email. You literally just fill in the blanks, and before you know it, your listing is done for you, and it's ready to go, okay? But we're gonna dive into the actual listing agreement so you can see what the form looks like. Moving on, and this is what your assistants will dive into, and when you fill in those blanks, they're gonna go into your transaction desk, and they're gonna do all this tedious shit for you, okay? So, I just want you to kind of know what's on the form. You really don't. You really don't. Well, in case somebody does ask you, yeah, so what is this part of the form? We'll dive into it. So this is we. The seller's name is going to go here. We're granting Winning Realty, which is going to go right there, the company name. The exclusive and irrevocable right commencing on. What is commencing on? Does anyone know? Starting on. Okay, I had some agents thinking that means ending for some reason. Commencing means starting. Okay. So Pacific time, blah, to sell or lease the exchange of the property located in the city will get put in there, the county of will get put in there, the APN number. They're gonna find all this shit for you. You don't have to hop on the county clerk's office to find any of that. They do all that for you. The listing of the sale, the listing price shall be whatever you put in that blank, 500,000, whatever it is. The earnest money. Now you're gonna fill in the blank, right? But typically EMD, and I want you to really get into the mindset of doing it this way because it'll make your life easier down the road, calculating shit. Let's say the purchase price is $4,950, okay, something like that, okay. $490,000 for number 6, okay. Your EMD is always going to be 1,000 or 1% rounded up to the nearest 1,000, okay. So in that case, yes, in that case it would have been 5,000 your EMD. Okay, so make a mental note. You always round up to the nearest 1,000, and it's 1% rounded up. So whatever it is, that's what you fill in the blank of. Terms available. I'm going to accept cash. We'll do conventional. We'll do FHA. We do not want to lease because lease means we don't make any commission. So VA, we'll do VA. We don't want to lease because that means that we may get a commission about a year later when the lease is over. Owner will carry. We still make a commission, but you got to make sure your seller is willing to do an owner will carry if they can afford it. Okay. So make a mental note on that as well. I totally just broke this pen. I have no idea what. I have no idea what this pen just exploded. Yeah, this is really bad. Moving on. Okay, so note, if the property is offered for lease, then the term seller used in this agreement includes landlord as applicable. Okay, so if you're offering a lease, does anyone know what a lease option is? I just want to touch upon that for a second since it's here. So a lease option is a really cool feature that allows somebody to lease the home now, okay, with the option to buy it later. Does that mean that they have to buy it later? No, it's an option. So basically that means that you could, if you go and you do that, they could lease this home for a year and decide that they don't want to buy it. Guess who doesn't make a commission on either one of those? Okay. I don't know about you, but I don't work for free. So I will talk my client out of that. Moving on. Yeah, neither do I. Seller does or does not authorize the broker to disclose the existence of multiple offers to purchase the property to potential buyers. We as a brokerage always select does. Does anyone have any idea why on chat? Why we select does there? Just throw out your guesses in the Zoom chat. Throw out your guesses. Why would we always select does there? Does anyone know? Well, I you guys know. You guys come in class. I'm asking them on the group chat. Golly. Gosh. Those that are on the group chat that do not know, we put does here because it allows us as agents, when somebody says, hey, do you have any offers? Okay. My answer, if I do have an offer, is yes. Okay, we have multiple offers. Now, can I disclose without reading this? I try to cover it on the screen, realizing that you guys can't see my hand over the screen. Let's say you can't see this part down here yet. Okay, I didn't put an answer. If it says seller does authorize the existence of multiple offers, but you have this next one selected as does not authorize the broker to disclose the offer's price and terms, and you give them the price and terms of those offers, you broke the responsibility of that client. Okay? We always, the assistants will always select does, and we'll always select does here as well. Was there a question in chat? No? Thought I heard somebody. Okay, so the reason we select does is because it allows me to go through and create a buzz. Okay? The buzz is that we do have multiple offers. You need to come in with your highest and best. Now, what if I don't have an offer? What do I tell them? Does anyone remember? You can't say yes. You don't want to say no current offers, but you can't say yes because you can never lie. Okay? So my response is always canned. It's always very similar. Okay? I've received multiple calls from multiple agents who are saying they're sending multiple offers. I'm expecting an offer any minute now. Okay? What am I still doing? What am I still doing? I'm creating a buzz. I'm creating an urgency so that they have a, and I'm not lying, am I? Because as an agent, by me putting it on the MLS, I should be expecting an offer, right? You see how I'm twisting the words a little bit? You never want to come off as, no, there's no offers. That is fucking weak sauce. And then they're going to come in with $40,000 less. Okay? You got to create some type of buzz so that you're generating them to have something called, and I want you to write this down, fear of loss. Okay? Fear of loss. You want to make the other agent feared that they're going to lose out and their client's going to lose out. So you need to do whatever you can to generate that buzz. Okay? And mind you, that's just straight out of the world of timeshare. Okay, we do this all the time in timeshare, people. You go on a timeshare presentation, you will learn how to do real estate. Yeah, very Sharky. Property offer for sale. The listing price noted above includes the property and all the improvements, fixtures permanently affixed or installed. Fixtures permanently affixed and installed. This is a very gray area when it comes to TVs. Okay, you need to make your client very clear. If you see stuff that is attached, such as a TV, is the TV staying or is it not staying? Okay. Now, what a lot of people are thinking is that the TV is personal property, but as soon as you affix a TV to a wall via a TV wall mount, it becomes fixed. Okay. So it's a very gray line, and typically brokers duke it out, and it usually ends up with, if it's not clear and concisely like talked about, that it's personal property, the TVs will not transfer. So as soon as you get into an offer and you represent the seller, you need to make sure that, hey, the TVs are personal property. I just want to make it very clear that they do not transfer. Okay. I need your confirmation that you understand that. Okay.
What about like the TV is like not the where you.
That's where it gets so gray, because and I want you to understand this. Certain TVs can only fit that mount. Okay, so a lot of mounts are not universal. So, example, if you get a Sony TV, which I have Sonys in all my houses, so Sonys are like really good fucking TVs. But the Sony mount that goes, it fits onto that TV. It only fits that TV. Okay, it's not a universal, and the freaking mount costs almost the cost of a regular TV.
Oh,
So it's
so you
not.
need so your source eventually.
They're like $1,200 is just the mount of the TV. They're stupid. Yeah. I know. But long story short, if someone knows that there's an expensive TV, they're going to try to find a way to weasel it in. And guess who usually ends up paying for it in the end? Because it wasn't properly disclosed. The buyer and seller agent usually hash it out. I'll pay $1,000, you'll pay $1,000. Before you know it, your commission is getting divvied up. Okay? When all you need to do as agents is to disclose. All right, the following personal items are excluded. Bam, any items here you must get in the habit of putting in the agent-to-agent remarks. Okay? TVs do not sell. The lawn furniture does not sell. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, this is what a lot of agents are getting in trouble for right now. I've seen a couple cases. I'm in this, it's called Open Door for brokers. We can see what all the agents, other brokers are getting fined for. There was a really big fine last week, I think it was, because somebody went through and had, it was something to do with the smart home, and they didn't disclose it. This property does contain or does not contain smart technology. Now, I know there was a big case a couple months ago where a buyer and seller got pissed off at each other, and the seller sold the house and maintained the ability to set the alarm off at like 3 in the morning. Okay, so they just kept setting the alarm off like every day for a whole month. Yeah, at like 3 a.m. So if the home has any smart technology of such, you have to disclose and transfer all the usernames and passwords so your clients don't get sued and you get dragged into having to go to lawsuits to attest on people. Your time is valuable. All right. Seller identifies the above items are included or excluded in offering of the purchase price. So you just go through and talk about these items. I want you to understand that solar, okay, is a nightmare for realtors right now. Okay, I made that very clear to people. Solar is not a good thing when you're trying to sell a house unless it's completely paid off. If it has something to do with a lease, if solar is leased, the buyer has to qualify to be able to literally, their debt to income has to be able to handle the debt of that leased item, or loans are even worse. Okay, let's say it's a loan and there's like a $50,000 solar system on the roof and $40,000 is still owed. The buyer has to qualify for that full $40,000. Okay, if they don't, it kills the debt to income ratio. And the really shitty part is typically you do not find out if they can qualify for the solar system until it's already past the loan contingency. So a lot of people are getting trapped. That is why we, on our app, we have this thing, the very, 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 very bottom. Oh, it's going to make me fill all this in. Oh, shoot.
Is there any other seller can pay it off if, let's say, to take the deal after they close? So
it pays it off after?
Yeah,
No.
like,
It has to be paid off prior to close of escrow in order for the debt to income ratio to affect it.
so they need cash, literally.
Yeah, the seller can go get a loan for it, but God forbid the deal doesn't go through. And now they're thinking, what happens if the deal doesn't close?
Yeah.
I have this crazy mafia loan. They're going to kill me if I don't pay it off. But bam, so let's look at this for a second. So purchase offer, if you rep the buyer, there is now a blip at the very bottom that covers your buyer's butts right here, solar. If solar is leased, I also want this to say or loaned, not just leased. I'll have them fix that. It's weird the attorneys didn't catch that. If solar is leased, seller agrees to provide all items required by buyer's lender to fulfill the needs of underwriting. If at any time in the deal the underwriter cannot approve the loan in light of solar assumption, then buyer's EMD to be returned to buyer and deal to be canceled. Seller will need to give buyer and lender access to full records and costs of what the solar produces and costs associated with the lease or loan needs to be in there in order to determine the liability of the solar in its entirety. So basically, this is a little blip that we put in to protect our clients from finding out too late and losing their earnest deposit.
Okay, so it's there now.
Yeah, it's a little blip. You just select it, and that'll go into your offer. Okay.
I have one.
Yeah. I'm gonna have them fix it because I wanted to say is leased or loaned, and there was another spot down here with the lease or loan. I want those to be in there.
Can you also put like an option where like if it's not paid off, well.
Yeah, that'll be in here. Not paid off is gonna be loan. Lease or loan. Yeah. I don't know why the attorneys didn't catch that. That's really weird. They usually catch everything. All right, moving on. So alarm systems, if it's a lease system, you have to pay attention. If there's a company out there called Vivint, and there's a company out there called Monotronic. Okay, Monotronic, believe it or not, is one of the biggest ones. They're, I think they bought Brink, which they may be partnered with ADT somehow. But long story short, they only do leases. They do not allow you to own the material. You can't pay it off. You have to lease it. And if you have one of those systems, they have the ability to come in and grab their shit out of the house. Stuff. They have the ability to grab their stuff out of the house. Forget it. I have the mouth of a pirate. There's a 3-year-old behind me. Okay, so propane tanks. Water softeners. Okay, you have to make a mental note that sometimes these things are leased and they're not cheap. A water softener, there's one out there that's like 20 grand. Okay, and it's not even that good. We had it in our last house. It was pretty awful. And sometimes there's other items that are leased. Okay, so you have to write them all here. All right. Title insurance. Basically, this is the seller agrees to provide the buyer with an owner's policy of the title insurance. Your title company handles this. They pretty much verify that they have the ability to sell the house. Compensation to the broker. Okay. If a sale, 8% of the gross selling price of the property and $495 flat fee. The seller acknowledges that the offers of cooperative compensation are between brokers and are not negotiable between seller and buyer. Okay. So long story short, we're going to share some of our commission towards the other side. Now, granted, if we only share 2% and we keep the other 6%, that's completely up to you as an agent. Okay. I had a broker literally call me. I don't know what state they were also licensed in. They were like, it's not fair. It's not right because you're supposed to, per law in this state, you're supposed to split the commission down the middle. I'm like, oh yeah? Show me where that law is, bro. Show me that law, bro. But long story short, we found out he was in like Utah or some other state that they mandate that you split it right down the middle. In this state, you don't have to. Okay. I thought it was really cute when he ended the call. If a lease, we don't do leases, so a lot of this stuff will always be blank. Okay, leases kill your chance of getting a commission, selling the house. NA, we never leave anything blank. Your assistants will put something in there. NA, they'll block it off. NA. Now, this is one in here. If a property is transferred, conveyed, leased, rented, or made unmarketable by a voluntary act of the seller without the consent of the broker during the time period or any extension of said period, if within 30 days of final termination, okay, basically if the seller does something to remove the property, you do have the ability to go after commissions in the state. Do we usually do it? No, because we value your name as an agent, okay? But long story short, in this state, if they remove it from being able to get sold when you're in a listing agreement, you do have the ability to go after commissions. Moving on. Okay. Deposit. Broker is authorized to accept on the seller's behalf a deposit. We never accept deposits. I want to reiterate that. We never accept deposits or escrow funds or anything like that. It's all done through escrow. Okay. In certain states, like I was licensed in Pennsylvania, where literally we run checks with our offers. Like, here's my client's offer. Here's a check for $5 grand. That was like a common thing back in the day. Even states that are old school like Pennsylvania have gotten away from that now. It's all done through an escrow or an attorney. Okay, crazy that the attorneys in those states make so much money. They make more than the agents do on the commission of deals.
You say the money is wired right to?
Yeah, we wire it within so many days, and whatever is on the offer determines how many days. Okay, and mind you, wiring of escrows, is it calendar days or business days? Does anyone know? Business days. Business days. The bank has to be open for the wire to go through. Okay, so on the offer you'll see it as blank business days. Okay, let's say it falls on Christmas. I know I got the WD-40 one. But like holidays don't count as business days. Make a mental note of that. All right, agency relationship. You guys have to have licenses. You have to be a valid license in order to do anything with listings. Moving on, required disclosures. Okay, they're going to need to do an SRPD. What's an SRPD real quick? Does anyone know in a nutshell? Sellers, real. No peeking, no peeking. All right, just checking over here. So basically, who fills that out? Is it good for the agent to fill that all out for the client? It's illegal for the agent. Okay, highly illegal. There was a big case about that a couple of years ago where the agent literally was recorded filling it out. That agent no longer has a license and their broker got a $100,000 fine. So please don't get me fined. Don't get recorded doing anything. Actually, this thing will self-destruct when it's done. Okay, so SRPD has to be done within how much time? Anyone know? We try to do it within 5 days of the offer being accepted. The weird part is in this state, it does not have to be done until it has to be given 5 days prior to the deal closing. Nonsense. Nonsense.
For your buyers, can you make that exception, say, include in 5 days for the acceptance of the offer?
Yeah, but okay, so there's one broker in town, and some of it had the unpleasant experience running into him. His name is Enzo. Okay, you ever do a deal with Enzo?
Going back and forth, I'm trying to remember.
Precision brokerage or something like that. He only does splits. Okay, so long story short, what he does is he never gives you the SRPD up front. Okay, you always get it once, and he writes it into his contract that you need to have the appraisal done, you need to have the inspection done, you need to have all these items done and paid for, and he writes you a long, crazy addendum that you have to have all these items done. And even though those items are the property of the buyer, because they're paying for them, those items must transfer before you get the SRPD.
That is, I remember that guy. That is,
Yeah, we've had a couple of run-ins. The deals, we never really go through with the deals because we get in the contract and we usually later.
If you're done with inspection and everything, what if there is like something major that goes on, and how are you gonna know when?
That's why he wants those other items delivered to him, so he's getting your appraisal, he's getting your inspection, stuff like that, and then you'll find out what the drop of the bomb is, and you can't really fix it because you're already past all your dates.
Would you accept that?
We usually cancel out because of not getting those items.
Okay.
I've only seen maybe 1 or 2 deals actually complete with them.
Okay.
But you have to be aware of it. There's brokers out there that know the rules, and they know that they don't have to give it to you until the 5th day prior to a closing.
Even if it's in the contract?
If you put it in the contract, do a deal with that, he'll always counter that out.
Then what's the point of having? Because we had that issue.
Yeah. So, but they know their rules, so they know. Yeah. I like a discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
So the buyer's paying for, inspections, they're paying for all that stuff.
Okay, how much is an inspection cost?
$395.
Okay.
500.
$400.
500.
How much
okay.
is an appraisal cost?
Well, the appraisal, if it doesn't close, they don't pay for that anyway.
Not true.
What?
Ooh, no, what world? What world?
No. If the property doesn't close,
They still paid for it. Yeah, the appraisals are typically paid via a credit card, okay? The buyer pays for that to the lender, okay? Gives the lender a credit card, bam, they pay for it. Whether the deal closes or not, they're still out that 5, 6, I've seen some USAA ones that are $700. Okay.
Yeah, that
Yep. So they're out that money. Now here's the dilemma with dealing with a broker that knows the rules and the law in this state, where we don't have to give the SRPD until 5 days prior to closing. Knowing that rule, you can go through, get past all those outs, drop a bomb on somebody, okay, that, hey, we know there's a foundational crack in this building, and there's literally a crack, and we just have a nice rug over it right now, and your inspector didn't catch it, so, and you're out of your ability to cancel because your due diligence period is up. You've already paid the $500-600, so you're kind of invested in the deal emotionally. You've already gone a month almost, and you're already, your clients are planning on their move, and then the bomb gets dropped, okay, that there's a foundational crack, but your client's mindset is, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's a freaking Grand Canyon of a crack, okay? Division has the rule where they have to give it 5 days prior. It's their rule in this state. Yeah. So some brokers know it. Most brokers in town are very good. They try to get it out really, really fast. But the reality of it is you don't have to. Okay. Unless it's written in the contract, and those brokers that know the rule will never sign that.
They will counter.
They would counter that.
But then you get out of the contract, yeah.
And that's usually what we do. We usually kill out right now.
Not in this market, though, right?
In this market. He does it every day. Sells a lot of houses. He's like the third biggest broker in town. He's one guy, and he has all flips. He does like 500 houses flips a year. He's a beast.
Yeah,
Precision or something. Yeah. Yeah, he's a rental agent. He's a beast. But he's a jerk on the phone. Me and him clash. We're like fire and fire. Fair housing. So what is fair housing? Does anyone know what fair housing is? Race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, gender identity is now one of them, and expression. Okay, so expression. If they identify as a butterfly, they're a butterfly. Okay, as long as their money is green, we don't care. But in this state, there's a lot of extra ones: sexual orientation, ancestry, or handicap. You're not allowed to discriminate in any way, shape, or form. Butterflies buy houses. It is what it is.
Is incest included in
It's probably one of these. National origin is probably where that's at. No, I have no idea. Common interest community. What is the CIC? Does anyone know? CIC, HOA. Nice. Okay. The property is or is not located in a common interest community. So if it's not in a common interest community, let's say it is for a second. Okay, it's in an HOA. How many days do you have to order the HOA resale package? Does anyone know? You have to have it to your client by 15 days. Write that down. You don't know that. And get it in your head. Represent the seller. You must have the HOA resale package. You must have the HOA demand ordered and to the buyer within 15 days. If you fail that, they have the ability to cancel the deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Calendar day?
15. I don't know. You have to look that up. I think it's calendar days. Yeah, pretty sure. But long story short, I always tell my clients, and they look at me like I got three heads. I want to rush that. It's an extra $100 to rush it. The reason I rush it is because if I can get that package done and back within like 24 hours, what does it do? It eliminates the ability for them to cancel for that reason. Okay? Because as soon as,
right?
so let me show you how this works. So there's a form that your assistants will send called the HOA resale receipt. Okay? They're going to send all the documents to the other buyer agent. They're going to have the buyer agent confirm with the receipt that they received it on this day, this time. From the date of that receipt, they have 5 days to be able to cancel the deal. Okay? So if I get the HOA resale package and I pay for the extra $100 to have it rushed, and I get it tomorrow, from tomorrow forward, that's 6 days, roughly. That's the window of cancellation for HOA. They can still cancel with their 10-day due diligence, But after the 10 days, it makes it very hard for them to cancel. They need to get a loan denial or something of the nature for that, okay? But your job as a listing agent is to remove all ability to cancel. Ability to cancel, whenever I say those words, a word should come to your mind. What is it? Contingency. Okay? Contingency, you replace that word with ability to cancel. That's what that word means. Okay? Moving on. It's going to name the CIC. You're going to get the phone number. You're going to get the dues, your assistants, find all this out. You don't even need to do any of that. They do all that for you. Special assessments. The property is or is not subject to a special government assessment, such as a SID or a LID. Okay?
Why is that called a government?
It's because so the builder at the time was charged by the government or the governing entity, the city, okay, a certain fee to go through and make the roads, do the lights, and then there's ongoing costs to service those items, okay? So they go through and they say, okay, well, Mr. Buyer, you're buying this house, we're going to charge you, Inspirada, for example, when they first started building, $13,000 to $15,000 in an additional fee that you have to pay off every month. You can't just lump sum chunk it out. Okay. There's a prepayment penalty on them. Yeah, the city wants their money, even though there's like no interest. They want to be slow paid. They don't want the money up front. Yeah, it was stupid because I went through. Did I tell you what I fucking did? I went to Southern Highlands and I hate owing people money. I am stupid weird about it. Okay, like if you look at my credit cards, I overpay. I have like $1,000 credit on like every card. It's like terrible, right? Because I like to prepay. I'm like,
give me my card.
but long story short, I went through to go pay off it was like a $9,000 SID that I had on the Southern Highlands house, right? So I paid it off. And then they sent me another bill for $900. There was a 10% prepayment penalty. So I paid that off, and then I had a $90 bill. So I paid that off, I had a $9 bill. I'm like, it doesn't go away. It was 10% every time. That's each chunk payment. It was like impossible for me. I got down to like 90 cents. I could. Yeah, they had to literally physically bill me the 90 cents. It was terrible. Yeah, so learn from my mistakes. Otherwise, you owe another 9 cents by paying off the 90 cents. It was terrible. But that's what it was. Okay, SIDS and LIDs, you have to disclose if your seller knows what it is. Okay, it's $9,000. They're paying $300 a month, quarterly, whatever it is. The seller will know. Yeah. Okay. T-Box. Seller does, we always do does, it'll always be electronic. Okay. We in this brokerage are not allowed to use mechanical. It goes against our errors and emissions insurance. We must have a log of every single person that enters that house and leaves that house. So you're not allowed to use mechanical lockboxes. I literally went and did photos at a photo shoot yesterday. It was a really nice house. It was like a $2 million house. And they had a mechanical lockbox on it. Okay, let me show you the severity of that, right? So let's say some realtor is showing their client that property. Mind you, there's TVs in there. It's a nice house, right? Showing their client, and their client happens to look at the lockbox number when the realtor opens it, okay? And they give that lockbox because they want to have you. Give it to a family member. Now you got random people in the house, and let's say a TV goes missing. Well, typically the last person that was confirmed to show the house would be liable. So now the agent that is the listing agent who put that lockbox on there, they're not going to get in trouble. It's the last agent that showed the house, even though they had nothing to do with it. It could have been some other family or some other agent that showed the house. The last one's going to get in trouble. What crazy world do we live in? I don't even like opening mechanical lockboxes. They scare me.
I don't know how they break my nails.
Oh, gosh. It's terrible. All right, moving on. Seller does or does not authorize the broker to use one-day code. A one-day code is the ability to let someone in the house to do item repairs or, let's say, do an inspection or what have you, okay? So you're granting the ability. We typically do does, and we have the ability to let certain people in the house with a one-day code, okay? And moving on, rent or lease. We don't do this unless the property is currently for lease. or occupied by a tenant, we would hit is. If it's not, we would hit is not. Property is or is not subject to a management agreement. If it is, we hit is. If it is not, is not. We must, if there is a management agreement and a lease in process, we have to transfer all of those items to the new buyer, should the new buyer not want to maintain the current property manager, okay? So let me give you an example. Let's say you're buying a house, you represent the buyer, and your buyer is an investor that wants to keep the current tenant, wants to keep the current tenant in place. And the other side already has a property management company. Are we going to keep that property management company in place? No, we're going to fire them. We're going to hire Valerie. We're going to tell our client that we have a better property manager that has a really crazy success rate. And because you're a Winnie Realty client, she gives you a discount off the property manager fee.
Oh, so,
yep.
Do
So
I get any money if I refer her?
any money that, any clients that you refer her, I think she pays like $300 for a referral fee as well. So you'll get an additional $300 on the deal just for referring somebody. By finding someone that has a property manager and just getting them to switch to Valerie, I think it's like $300. She doesn't talk to them, but she does pay something. Could be more than that. So don't come in with 300.
Something bigger than
Could be like 500.
something bigger than that.
Nice.
Like, you gave it to me, iPad.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. There's money to be made there. Don't let your client take
Okay,
a bad.
Valerie.
Yeah.
Give me the money.
Don't let your client take a bad property management company. There's a lot of them in town. Valerie she literally ran 100% pay rate during the full pandemic. Like other property managers were going through and starving. Like they couldn't get the people to pay. And she went over there like mob style, like you'll pay or you'll die. She's like so nice about it. So nice. And they all paid. Tax withholding. You have to make a mental note. Tax withholding is a big deal right now. There's something called FERPTA. There's they put this into place. If your seller is or is not a foreign person, either way they select the box is not or is. Either way they have to sign. They have to initial. I see a lot of people that try to do this on their own with their own listing agreement. And they literally take it to the client and they say, oh well, is not. Is not means my client doesn't have to initial because they only have to initial if it is. That's not the case. They have to initial regardless of the option they choose. Okay? So mind you, if you have your assistants do this, they know that. They have them sign or initial. But what is FERPTA? Does anyone have any idea?
Foreign something.
Foreign what?
International.
International.
Residential.
Oh, we're just going with it. I like it. I have no idea. That's why I'm asking you guys. Oh, it's right here. Right here. Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. Basically what it means is that we had there were Chinese buyers that were buying up and they were selling the properties, and instead of paying the taxes, Uncle Sam was missing out on the taxes, so they would disappear back to the country and never pay the taxes. Okay? So here's the shitty thing with dealing with a FERPTA deal. And I'm going to give you the bad part. Okay? The bad is that if you represent the buyer, okay, and the seller notes that they are FERPTA, the title company is going to go to your buyer with about 10 extra sheets of paper that basically says that, hey, if the seller, we're going to do our best to withhold the taxes that we believe are supposed to be withheld on this transaction, okay? We are not held liable if we don't hold enough money. You are, okay? Which, exactly. So at this point, whenever you see something FERPTA and your client and the title company is saying, hey, we need a signature on this, do not let your client just sign it, all right? You need to have your client take it to an attorney. The attorney will go through and review it and really give them an educational about their risk, okay? Because if they just sign it, and let's say title does not hold enough taxes. Let's say it was a $50,000 liability and title only held back 30. 20 grand is going to go after the buyer. The IRS will go after the buyer for 20 grand for the shortfall.
Like, how do you actually know the total amount?
You won't know until the government says, these are the total taxes.
Oh, shit.
Okay? And that could be a year later. You can't. No, you can't find out until it gets assessed, spam. No. Doesn't matter. That scares me, by the way. Because I have a tax nightmare. But long story short, the reality of it is they do their best to hold the money that they think that it is. 9 times out of 10, they hold more than they should, which is good. And then it just gets sent back to them wherever country they're at. But the reality of it is, should they not and they should fall short, then the buyer eats that additional.
Then isn't it easier to say, just avoid that? Because,
No, then your client loses out on the deal.
no, I mean, like, once you see the frict part, like, just don't, you know.
You have to. In order to close the deal, title's going to mandate that these docs get signed. So
Can you cancel the deal once you see that it's a frict?
you could, but what if your client loves the house and wants to proceed? As long as they know their risk and they talk to an attorney, and the attorney can give them some type of. Did you really just hit your elbow? Golly. If the attorney can give them some semblance of calmness, okay, that hey, this is the worst case scenario that I see as being the liability, and the attorney can cover their butt, then great. That's the reality of it. But we don't, as realtors, we never step over that line and say, hey, just sign it, okay? Because if you do, and they have that on record, God forbid, that's going to be a very hard stance to defend, okay? So we just don't do that.
Obviously, the more expensive the house,
The more expensive, the first liability, the tax liability, yeah. Mediation is not a bad thing. Do not freak out if someone wants to go to mediation. I actually have one tomorrow at 3 p.m. If you wanna come to the office, I'll do it here. I'll let you guys watch how it goes. Yeah, tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm gonna be doing it here at the office, I believe. Let me see. Is it tomorrow at 3 p.m.? Let me see. Tomorrow, yeah, 3 p.m. So if you want to come to the office, you can learn, you can see what's going on. But long story short, what we're going to be doing is it's a call. The buyer and seller disagreed over who gets the END, and we cancel within the loan contingency time frame. The seller said, nope, even though you're canceling within your right, we still want to fight you for nonsense. So they're going to find out tomorrow that was a bad choice. And we're going to go to mediation and have a nice, calm and collected mediation. Yeah, very, very calm and destructive mediation. But very, very, very interesting. So mediation is not a bad thing. Basically, what it does is it puts the buyer and it puts the seller so they can talk to each other, okay, and really see that they're humans. Because right now they're like two dogs, and there's a fence in between them, and they can see each other. And they're literally, I want you to just picture this. They're just barking at each other, right? They're like aggressive as heck. And the mediation is just opening the fence. And typically the dogs don't just attack each other like, oh, you're a person. Oh, I'm a person. Let's just kiss. Let's make up. Okay. That's usually how it works. They usually don't scrap right then and there. Okay. Sometimes they do scrap though, and that's the fun part.
That's what you're expecting tomorrow.
But long story short, that's what mediation is. I've gone to probably 5 or 6 of them. They've all ended amicably. They all ended in my favor. So they see it our way. It's pretty fun. The MLS is a very interesting organ. It's a living organism. I want you to understand what this is. As soon as something, I consider 17 and 18 to be linked. Okay. As soon as we put something on the MLS, it's there for life. Okay. So you need to be very clear. I deal with a lot. I don't know what's going on. I have a lot of FBI clients, which is very odd because my family.
FBI?
Yeah, my family's like total criminals. So I'm dealing with all these.
Are you sure they're not undercover?
I don't know. It's wrong. They're like coming out of the woodwork. But I tell them, okay, I want you to go through and make sure you don't have any photos of your family or anything like that. When we're going through, we put on anything on the MLS, it's live. They're going to be able to see, they're going to be able to go through and you know what I mean? So I don't want any photos, I don't want anything like that, so I have them put all that stuff away for photo day. Okay. The other thing, and this is a hard thing to do, you kind of have to really just tough it up a little bit. I want you to put away the religious stuff, just for the photos. Bring it right back out when you're done, that's fine. But you do not want to have someone come in the house and see religious stuff and then automatically disconnect from your house. You don't want to lose the sale over that. Okay? So it's a very hard conversation, but if there's a lot of religious stuff, what have you, I tell them let's just put it down for the showings and the photos. Okay? Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. I'll have to hide my black flag. But moving forward, okay, seller does or does not authorize the broker to commence public marketing or advertising activities. This would be completely silly of a seller to hit does not, okay, because this would limit you to the ability to sell the house. Okay.
I mean, isn't that connected to also the two?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to put it on. You'd have to mark. There's something called like AVM and some other items. You have to mark those as no on so they don't get syndicated to Zillow. They don't get syndicated to any website or anything like that. They would just be on the MLS, which would really tie the hands of the sale.
Question.
So we always hit that.
Is it possible that when you put a listing on MLS and then it, goes on Zillow, but let's say the pictures are so old, right? So meanwhile, I'm putting, maybe, captures the old pictures, but when I put the new one, that will not update it on Zillow, for example.
Yeah.
Which one of my sellers was crazy about that.
I
Okay.
That's when you first go with a listing, you always want to make sure all the photos that want to get uploaded, that bulk upload, it refreshes everything with all the new photos. Okay, it's almost in order to really make it work, really totally legal, you have to take the listing down and put it back up as a new listing. Otherwise, you have to message Zillow and say, hey, the updated photos, you guys have them, and I need you to upload them for my seller. They'll respond about 2 weeks later.
Okay. So that's way too legal.
Yeah. But basically, in order to change anything on the MLS, what do you need? In order to change anything on the MLS, you need an MLS change form. Okay, you cannot just go in there and modify photos. You can't go in there and change the price. You can't go in there. We have agents all the time go in there and just change something. Oh my God, I made a typo in the public remarks. You cannot change anything once it's submitted. If you do that, you're breaking the law. Okay? You have to do an MLS change form. In the additional terms, I'm changing this to this. I'm changing the price. I'm relisting it. You need an MLS change form to make any modification to the MLS. That is a huge fine that you can get fined for. Okay? And basically and how they catch people, you have to understand that the board, which is your LVR, which you pay your $2,000 to them a year, right? The board and the division are all in cahoots with each other. Okay? They will go through and send, here's all the updates that took place for this particular week. They'll send it to this person at division. This person at division will look through our files because division has access to look through every one of our files. They'll look to see, okay, well, there's an MLS change form on this one. They're fine. They'll random check them. Oh, this one, I see no MLS change form on the file. They changed it without an MLS change form. Let's do a quick $500 fine. Okay? But they work together. So you have to understand, don't make silly mistakes like that because they will catch you. This is a matter of time. Sign. Seller does or does not authorize the broker to install a for sale sign. We typically do does, but in the event, let's say there is an HOA that does not allow it, Southern Highlands, Anthem, okay? There's some in North Las Vegas, okay? If they don't allow it, they don't allow it. Some of them mandate that you have to use their specific sign, okay? Southern Highlands, we do have one in the back room. It does have my name on it as the broker. You can use that sign. Otherwise, you can have one made for yourself. They're not cheap. They're like $400 to have a sign made. Okay, they're out of their minds what they charge for those signs. But yeah, they're criminal. Seller opt-out. The seller has the ability to opt out of certain things. You do not want them to opt out of anything. Okay, opting out usually just kills their exposure, and you have to make this very clear. If they opt out of the commentary section, their listings will not appear on Zillow. Okay, if they opt out of the estimate of value, which is the automated estimate, you know how they do like the guesstimate and stuff like that. If they opt out of this, their stuff will not show up on Redfin. It will not show up on Realtor.com and about 4,000 of the 16,000 sites. Okay, so by them opting out, they're like, haha, I'm controlling the scenario, but they're really shooting themselves in the foot on how many eyes will see their property. Okay, and sellers don't really know this, so you got to really teach them. Opting out kills their views. Okay, or this is the one we typically have them initial. Seller does not opt out of any of the above. Moving forward, 21, office exclusive. This is basically greed in a nutshell. There's some brokerages out there that says that this is does select or does not select office exclusive. We always hit does not so that our listings are shown to everybody, not just our office. Okay, so that's a speaking point when you're talking to someone. Is there's a lot of brokers out there that you got to watch them. They're kind of greedy with this. They'll pick does, and it'll only get shown to 200 people that are in their office. We want this to be shown to the 20,000 agents in town. More eyeballs, more sales, higher number for you. So we always select does not. Okay. Use of listing content. Anything that this goes again with those ones up above. Anything up above that was put on the MLS stays on the MLS for life. Okay. Nevada law, we're not allowed to sell meth labs. It has to be legal. Okay. It has to be legal in order for us to sell it. Entire contract. This is interesting. If you modify something, let's say I cross this out right here, bam, cross it out. I don't like this part of the contract. You cross it out and you initial. You're not allowed to do that. It's either all or nothing with this contract. All right. Attorney fees. This is usually the first thing that I talk about in my mediations when I go to them. Is that God forbid you lose and we take you to court and you lose and the buyer hires an attorney in this state. The prevailing party has the ability to collect the legal fees of reasonable expense. They can't go to Gucci and get all new suits. But Prada, they can probably get away with it, Hugo Boss, right? But the reality of it is that they have to fly in from New York, the legal team, they're going to have expenses and stuff like that, that because you making them come and defend our client, you're going to have to now eat those costs. Okay, and Gucci is kind of pricey. So the damages. What's that? I know, they ain't fucking around, right? Like, for real. Are we in like a recession and they're the only company that raises their prices in the recession? It's like we chose not to participate in the recession. Like, come on now. Damages cap. Let's say your commission on this deal was $15,000. What are you legally allowed to be sued for? $15,000. The maximum liability to the broker and the broker agent is not to exceed their commission amount paid. Okay, that is a cool little coverage. That is the state. Yeah. Well, there was that one agent. I'm not going to mention the name of the brokerage, but they caused their client $1 million in damages, but their commission was only 20 grand. Yeah. Yeah, that's scary. So warranty of ownership, the seller warrants that they actually are the sole owner and they own this property. Okay, so that's good. Foreclosure, they're going to acknowledge that they are or are not in breach or in an election to sell. Now, this is actually an interesting scenario. You do have to make a mental note here that because we should start seeing some foreclosures coming up. If you have someone that is received a breach or a default, typically there is a date that they are given that they have to sell this property by or make whole the bank. You need to find out that date, okay? Because you have to sell prior to that date. Now, the cool thing is, and this is something we've learned through experience, that typically if you have it listed already, the bank will continue to go with the person that has it listed, okay? So even if they tell you that, hey, the date's coming up in only a couple of days, well, let's get it listed and see if I can get you a quick cash offer, okay, and close by that date to at least save it from going on your credit. Worst case scenario, the bank does foreclose on, but it's about a 90% chance that the bank will keep you as a listing agent. Okay? So food for thought in that regard. Moving on, signatures. This agreement may be signed by all parties, by the parties, electrically or digitally, electronically, or manually, okay? And then they have something that they have the ability to do. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. On more than one copy. So they can literally sign their own copies. And as long as we have all the copies, title merges them together. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. They can merge the signatures, and that's still allowed in this state. Signature merging is not allowed in multiple states, though. It is allowed in the state. Okay. Recommendations. This is huge. So basically, if a broker recommends a builder, a contractor, an escrow company, a title company, any company, it is the seller's due diligence to do their own investigation on that person. Okay. You're not held liable for somebody coming through and saying, hey, they weren't licensed and you recommended them. I want to go after your license. Okay. In this state, they must do their own due diligence. They must do their own contractual everything. Okay. Default. If the seller materially breaches this listing, the seller is in default and will be liable to the broker for the amount of the broker's fee. Mind you, sellers sometimes just get cold feet and they decide they don't want to sell anymore. Okay. If that happens, if the seller decides they don't want to sell anymore, are they liable for the commission? Yeah. They can be.
Why didn't I get my commission a year ago?
Because you weren't at this broker.
I was here.
Which one?
The guy that, like, I did the pictures and everything, and then he's like, no, I don't want to sell it anymore for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, you. 100%.
What?
Yeah,
And he does so much on my nerves.
This is why we do
so
process.
hard.
So now you know. 100%. If they're in an agreement with you and you had all these incurred expenses, 100%. Typically, what I would do is I would just go after our expenses incurred, maybe $1,000 for our time. I wouldn't go after them for the full commission because you didn't actually sell the house, but you did have incurred expenses. And in order for me to let them out of the contract, then like, bam, they do that. 100%. If I would have known. I don't think they did. There must have been a reason behind it. Yeah, there's more to that story. Because I don't let people out of contracts very easily.
So mad.
Well, with good reason if I would have known.
I'll never forget this.
Good. It's a good day when you go to class.
How you are.
Good. I love it. Binding effect. Now, this is actually an interesting scenario. Let's say that there's a seller, for example, that sells a house, okay? It is the fee is binding on the seller, the seller's heirs, the administrator, the executors, anyone that has any ability to have an ownership claim on that property, okay? So we still have the ability to get paid, all right? So it's binding. So if the seller goes through and signs and passes away, and it goes into like a probate stuff, we're still able to sell and make our commission, okay?
Even if the other people don't want to do it?
Even if, what do you mean the other people? No, it's still, they can keep it, but they have to cash us out now at that point. Okay. Time is of the essence. You got to tell your clients that, hey, I'm going to send you stuff to sign. I kind of need to sign fast. Don't do that going off the heating that has no church. Don't pull a Randy's clients. So a month into the deal, and everyone's wondering where everyone is. Did they die? like for real. What happened? 36, we put an answer here. Okay. My answer is here. Seller hereby agrees that once an offer has been accepted, the MLS shall automatically change to, my answer is depending on, is the house vacant or is the house is occupied? Yeah. So if it's occupied, I will always put under contract, no show. I don't want people showing up and just opening the door when someone's in the shower. Okay. And here they're singing. If it's vacant, I will always put under contract show. Okay.
You also put that with, let's say it's an SHN exactly.
No, I only care about vacant or non-vacant. I never select determined by seller because what does this make your assistants do? It makes them do another form, an MLS change form, to then go through and note it before they can make any changes. It's just more time and delay when they can go through and choose it. All right. 1031 exchange. This is swap till you drop. I highly recommend, like for real, trade. Yeah, you basically just keep trading houses and you tax defer. This is why I'm a tax nightmare. But bam, so you have that ability to do that. Okay. Additional terms. Anything additional Typically what I do, since I do the 8% listings or 7% listings, I have at the very bottom my choice close. I don't know if you guys can visualize this here. It says 6%, 7%, 8%. At the very bottom, it does state that in the event I represent both buyer and seller, you will receive a 2% discount on the sale of this property. Okay, I will write that right there. Okay, I'm making 8%. You get a 2% discount. Everyone's happy at 6%. You follow me? So I would write that right there. All right. Any questions with any of that? Don't forget this last sheet. This is all about the butterfly and all the fair housing stuff again. This has to be initialed and blah. Fair housing is nothing to play with. Okay, they are very serious about this in this state, and they will go after you with the force of God. Okay, with their butterfly. Any questions with any of that? Do you guys have, I can't see, oh, shut up. Was it off the entire time? Oh, no, this was early. 12, okay. Oh, my God. Oh, yes. Does anyone have any questions on Zoom so far about listings? Zoom, anything? Do you learn anything here?
This was amazing.
Quiet.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Does anyone want me to go over the rental thing? Because I know we're already over 15 minutes. I can do a rental application like hella fast if you want it. A rental application. If you want it, I can do it. No worries. Yay. Does anyone want a rental application real quick? It'll take me just a minute. Okay, cool. We'll just do it real quick. So a rental application. Do you guys see the assistance page right now on Zoom?
Yes.
The Winning Really app?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just want to make that. Okay, cool. So basically what you would do is you would go over to, you put your name in there, you hit no there, you go to rental application here. Okay, now there's two different ways to do this, all right? Let's say you're like me, you're gonna do it my way. I don't do rentals unless there's money involved. Okay, so the gas for me is brutal in a Tesla. So what I would do, so what I would do is I would do something called a rental service agreement first. Okay, before you do a rental service agreement, you need to have a duties owed done. Okay, for a regular rental, you do not need to do a duties owed. But if you do a rental service agreement, you are creating a contract for them to pay you for your time. You need a duties owed for a contract. Okay, so you need a duties owed, then you do a rental service agreement, and then basically what you do is you basically fill out some of this little void right here: client's name, email, how many clients, how many homes do you want to be shown per day, 3, 5, 7 in special instructions. I want to make $150. Okay, I want to make $150 to show them 3 homes. So for every 3 homes, I make $150. Okay, so bam, that's typically what we do. And then you hit submit, and then your assistants will send them a documentation that says that gas is expensive, and in order for us to show homes, it has to be feasible for us. The document is really, really cool. If you go to your broker Sumo, you can actually see what the document looks like. It's really cool. So you have that ability, and then you go back into your rental application. So let's get back into it. So you go over to rental application. Why is the computer so slow? Here we go. Rental application, and then you just fill in the voids here. Application name, email, any other applicants. Now this is what you have to understand. Applicants are people that are living there. So if it is a 3-year-old, you put them down, okay? If they're living in that house, you put them down, you put their agent, okay? Special instructions, blah, you put that here. Special instructions. Applications, are there any other applications? If they reside in the house, they're known as an application. Even if they're not paying, not granted, applications of age, let's say they are going on the application, okay, and they're going to be paying the $75, okay? Those are the ones that are paying. Now, you're not going to charge the $75 for a 3-year-old, but you do have to note them as living in that residence. Okay, so that's what they mean here. All right. Moving forward, you're going to get into your forms here. You're going to go over to, click on the forms. You're going to go over to where it says rental application. Sometimes it pulls up, but it's 1980s. Here we go. Moving forward, create a standalone form. Always, your assistants do this for you. Moving on, it'll load in 5 days. Give it a couple days here. All right, moving on. So this is a rental application. All right, this is not a, what is it called? A rental. What the heck's it called? And I'm a property manager. This is scary. It's not the one. Yeah, it's not a listing agreement. It's not the one that the people are going to sign with the property manager when they move in. Why am I drawing a blank? A rental agreement. It is not a rental agreement. It is an application. All right. So basically, it's going to be right here at the very top. Application, non-refundable. What are the fees? What is the holding fee? And how much total amount have we received? And how did we receive it? Check, payment, cash. How are they paying for these application fees? The property address, and your assistants fill all this out. The referring company is us. It's on the MLS. Here's the agent information. Here's their ID. Here's their license. We're going to be renting from, let's say we started on the 1st, and we're going to go until, I usually just cheat sheet here, and then I change it to 23. So it's a full year, right? Okay. The total, oh no, so I did this wrong already. And this is great. I want to show you this because this is what a lot of people make the mistakes on, and I almost just did it for you. So the rent from this date will only be a month from this date. It's only the first month. Okay. So, and a lot of people do this almost like I just totally did. So bam, oh shit, and it's only 10. So 9/1 to 10/1, how much is the rent amount? Bam, let's say it's a $2,000 rental. Security deposit is usually $2,000, and key deposit, let's say that was $200. How much of the key deposit is non-refundable? So let's say it's a non-refundable key deposit. Admin credit app fee, let's say that's $150. A pet deposit, $400. Is the pet deposit refundable or non-refundable? Cleaning deposit, is it refundable or non-refundable? Let's say that there's a non-refundable one of $400. Any additional security? Yeah, your credit's whacked. They're going to go through and charge you an extra $4,000 in security. And then sewer, trash, all this stuff usually adds up. Prepaid rent, that's usually something that's not filled in. Utility proration, sometimes that's done there as well. Out the door, look at these numbers when you add them all up. Okay, so when you get a client that's looking at a number of like 10K, you need to be trying to convince them, why are you doing this and not buying? Okay, right off the bat. But then you get into the rest of it. So this is what they have to come with, right? Their application fees per person, usually per adult, are like $75. That would be up here. If there's 2 adults, that would be $150. Okay. Bam. I usually leave this other part blank, and then they're paying that via cash. They're going to run a cash, or they're going to run checks directly to the office. That's how they fill that out, and then they fill out all their information. Okay, it gets kind of tedious. Applicant numbers, phone numbers, their VIN, all this good jazz gets all filled out. Have they ever filed bankruptcy? Have they ever been evicted? Do not let your client lie on this. I will tell you right now, we as property managers have systems that will find out everything, okay? Has the applicant ever willfully refused to pay rent? We'll find that out. How long does the applicant plan to live here? 1 year. Does the applicant plan to use liquid-filled furniture? I hope not. That's a waterbed. Does anyone even have a waterbed anymore? Those things are so cool. They were terrible for your back there, weren't they? Because you're like folded. Does anyone in the household smoke? Bam, so you're going to put that down. Applicant understands that the leasing agents or the representative of the landlord of the premises is located at blah. The monthly rent is blah. They're going to fill in all these blanks, and then they're going to have to sign it. okay? That is your rental application. All the hoops that they're going to have to jump through are on like 3 pages right here, all this information. They're going to have them fill that out to the best of their ability. And typically the dredge of the world is when you have to run the application or have the client run it to the office of the agent, okay? I want you to learn from so many mistakes of so many other agents. Whenever you have a client run anything to another brokerage, make sure you shoot an email that, hey, these are my clients, these are their names, they are running you a payment, they're running you a check, they're running you this. If you don't have a dialogue like that, it's so easy for that agency to steal your rental client and give it to somebody else in their agency, okay? They do it all the time, and you'll be like, okay, my client closed, great, where's my check? And then they'll say, well, per our records, so-and-so in our brokerage generated that deal, okay? Yeah, the so-and-so in our brokerage generated that deal. You didn't generate that deal. And then what they'll do is they'll contact the client and they will guilt trip the client and pretty much say something to the effect that, hey, if you don't have this other agent back off, we're going to make sure you don't get approved for that property. If you say that this other agent helped you with this, we'll make sure you get approved. And that's how they cut you out of the deal. Okay. Any questions with that in a nutshell? Pretty common though, for a rental. And then they have me step in, and before you know it, we're splitting a $300 commission, $150 my agent, $150 the other agent. It's like, and I spent 2 hours fighting with them. So it's like, oh my God. Any questions over that? Yeah, so please save me the time of not having to fight over that. Just shoot a message. All right. Well, that's my class for the day. If you guys learned anything, let us know in the group chat. If you have any other questions, let us know in the main group chat. There's a lot of stuff we covered today. If you have any questions at all, the only stupid question is the one you do not ask. Note that, okay? Maximize your day. We'll see you on Thursday. Ciao, guys.